Hey,
Happy
Michelle.
Wednesday.
Happy Wine Wednesday. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. I know, like, Michelle and I were just chatting like 5 minutes ago about how both of us feel like super bajiggity.
Yeah.
Because it's like we have so much to do, and I swear to God, tomorrow is gonna be Thanksgiving. And I
Yeah.
don't know about you, Mish, but like it is definitely impacting me in a negative way this week.
Me too. I feel
Like,
like I have like so many things like back to back. It's actually funny because I always feel like all of these like events that I have or activities or like I'm just busier at work, all they all like kind of like fall together. I don't know if you
yeah.
ever feel that way too. And it's just like keep going with it.
Well, it's like stuff that I love being busy. Like I'm like my husband always tells me I'm a busy body, so I'm definitely not complaining, but there are those moments of just like, it's never ending, you
Yeah.
know?
Uh-huh. No, I know. No, same. I'm a busybody too. I can't stay still.
Neither. I don't even know like what is even relaxing.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, I
Constantly
feel
going.
like yeah, I feel like it's a really good it's definitely timely for what we're talking about
Yeah,
today. Feeling
it
feeling
is.
run feeling run down.
Yeah.
We're
Do you
gonna
wanna
chat
get
with you.
the
Yeah,
wine?
we're gonna get into the wine. So today, I feel like this has been a theme of late, but we're going back to Italy. We are having Fiano, which honestly is one of my favorite lesser known grape varietals. Definitely a Mediterranean vibe, and it's definitely going to be a really affordable bottle as well, as
Mhm.
opposed to paying for something that's going to be really expensive. That's going to have the same expressiveness, and this is right along the Amalfi Coast, which is somewhere that I aspire to go at some point in my life. It is similar in body to like a Chardonnay, but it's not. It's going to be complex, but not like oaky and buttery. Super beautiful. There's going to be a little bit of white peach, which is one of my favorite expressions on a white wine. It has a little bit of floral tones on the nose, but it's super elegant, and it's definitely a wine that you can use for food. If you guys are going to any holiday parties coming up, this one, for those folks that maybe don't love drinking red wine, this would be a really good alternative, and definitely one of my favorite grape varietals, and not one that is really well known.
Yeah, it was so good. So, a little secret, we broke into the bottle early. Well, I had this bottle, I bought it a few weeks ago, and then my boyfriend the other night, like last week, he was like, "Oh, look at this bottle of wine just chilling here. Let me open it." I was like, "Oh, no," but
Oh my
it was
God, Chris.
so good. Um, so like to Jenny's point, definitely go in. And he actually said that this is one of his favorites that we've had on. So
Ah, we've
yeah,
got the endorsement from Chris
yeah,
Maroney, you guys.
yes,
That
we got the
must be
endorsement.
good. My gosh. Well, okay, Mish. Obviously, we both talked about being a little bit run down, but that's okay. We're still very grateful. Tell me about your rose and thorn from this week.
Okay, yeah. So my rose. So this past Sunday was Marathon Sunday in New York City, and it is one of my favorite days to be in the city and in New York. It's just like so cool. Like there's just like you could just feel like the energy is like just so different. There's so many people cheering. We went outside, had some mimosas, made a sign. One of my friends was running in it, so was able to see her. And if like you ever get the chance to experience it, or if you're a runner and haven't ran it yet, definitely run it. It's like once in a lifetime experience.
Honestly, Mish, like your vantage point of like drinking a mimosa while watching people run is much more my speed, but I'll take your word for it.
Yes.
That's
And it's
amazing.
always
Yeah,
yeah, no,
and I was gonna
it's
say that
always something new.
I saw this really cool TikTok of like tracking the route for the marathon, and it's like so expansive.
Yeah. Well, it starts in Staten Island. So you go through every borough and it's just like crazy.
Have you run
I,
it?
yeah, I ran it in 2017. Which
Stop.
I was like I trained very hard for it. Now I don't think I'd be able to. I was just talking to Chris about this because when like on Sunday, it like makes you wanna like run. It's like you just see everybody like having fun, but I prefer a half marathon. I will say
Touche.
that. But what happened to me was I probably got to like mile 20 and I like couldn't even stop to walk. I was like, I knew that if I was gonna walk, like I would just like stop. So
Yeah.
I had to like just continue running. But I made it. And like I said, it was one of like the best experiences. Uh,
Well, props to you
with
because
me.
I could never, I think the furthest I've ever run is like a 10K.
Hi. You should do a half marathon in one day.
Oh,
But
I would love to. I used to love running and I have really bad joint problems, but I think it's a really good parallel for business though, like training
would
for a marathon, and just having that sustainability to keep going because it done is better than perfect, right? It's definitely not
Mhm.
something that you're going to be optimized the entire time you're doing. So I've
Right.
always loved that parallel.
Yeah. I know they always say in business, like it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So
100%, 100%. Well,
yeah.
what was your thorn?
My thorn, so kind of like Jenny was saying before, kind of feeling run down, felt a little sick yesterday. Thankfully, feeling much better today and more rejuvenated and motivated again to get all these things done. And then I'm actually going to be in Austin next week
So
visiting Jenny. Yeah.
exciting.
And then we're going to be doing a live episode.
Yeah, we're
Which
gonna
is
do a live episode together. So hope you guys tune in. Our content for the rest of the year. I know that I'm really biased, but it is fire. So you
it is.
guys definitely need to be tuning in. We've got a lot of really excited things that are coming for Empowered Women Live,
Mhm.
along with what we're going to be talking about today. So I'm very
Yeah.
excited.
Uh-huh. Okay. What about you? Want to tell us your rose?
Um, Well, my rose is I'm a psycho and I love Christmas. So the day after Halloween, we put all of our Christmas decorations up in our house, and it is like
Mhm.
a winter wonderland in here, which I'm very excited about. And my thorn is that we live in Austin. And for those of you who don't know, Austin is famous for having foundation issues and a lot of settling. So we have passed the point of no return where we must fix the foundation in our home. Which is, part of home ownership. It's a joy of home ownership. The problem is we have to like take all the floors out, which means we have to move all of our stuff, and putting up all the Christmas stuff was moot.
Let me ask you a question. Do you typically put your Christmas decorations up early every year, or is it just because you'll be in London this year?
Okay, so like I'm telling everyone that comes over now that it's because we're going to London, but like low key last year I still put the decorations up on Halloween.
Did you?
Yeah.
I love it. I'll
So
normally like start before things. Sometimes I'll start before Thanksgiving, but we normally go and cut down a real tree. So we can't like go get it before I think like Thanksgiving weekend anyway. I
yeah,
wouldn't know. So it's so fun to like cut down your own tree.
I know we used to do that all the time when I was a kid, and now it's
Yeah.
just with everything, plus like I'm a crazy person now and I feel like my allergies wouldn't be able to tolerate it. So we use a fake tree now, but real trees are so magical. I really do
Yeah,
love them.
they are. It's like the best to find the perfect tree. Just take it home.
I know, I know. If we had kids, we'd definitely do it.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're going to be chatting with
Yeah.
you guys a little bit about our ebook that we released, or
Mhm.
we're about to release. We've done a pre-release and we're about to release it to you all. It's called Recharging Your Batteries, A Guide to Burnout for Women. And Michelle and I had so much fun writing this. And we truly, truly believe that there are so many tactical tips and pieces of advice that you guys can take and run with in your everyday lives. And it just serves as a really good reminder. And one of the things that was really jarring for both of us is that nearly half, almost 48% of 18 to 29-year-olds say they feel drained compared with 40% of their peers age 30 and up. And women, 46% reported higher levels of burnout than men. Um, and it's
Yeah.
something that I feel like we always knew in the back of our minds that women were really dealing with this on a larger scale than our male counterparts.
Mhm.
But you're a little bit biased by your experience, and I've had, I get no less than 5 text messages a week from my female friends saying like, "Oh my God, I just can't take this anymore.
Yeah.
I have so many responsibilities. I'm wearing so many hats." And
Mhm.
so Michelle and I mean, we've bonded over this in the past,
Yeah.
and we've both implemented tools that we've been able to tap into and leverage in our everyday lives. And we were
Mhm.
like, why not put our heads together and like put pen to paper?
Yeah, exactly. Same, like Jenny said, I had like a few of my friends text me like right before we actually came out with the ebook, just saying like how burnt out they were, whether that was at work, at home, especially now with the holidays coming up. Kind of like we said, there's a lot more events going on. Also could be like stressed, burned out from, gift giving. Sometimes
Oh
the
my
stress
God,
of like
yes.
buying gifts, whether that be, the actual physical cost or like finding the perfect gift. I know like I try to go crazy and I have to get the perfect gift. Sometimes like get burnt out by that. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, we both kind of said it's so weird. Like we're getting like so many texts. Like, why not put out this good resource? And when we were actually looking for other resources on it, there were none that, stuck out to us, or they were kind of just like blah. And we're like, let's like find a way to like perk this up and make it, like visually aesthetic, but also some really good tips in it.
Yeah, and humor, because I mean, if you can't laugh about this stuff, then what can you do, right?
Exactly.
Um, and I think too, like, so we'll walk through a little bit of what you can expect from the book. But one of the things that was really core to Michelle and I both is that there's been a lot of shifts that have happened, like not only in the market but in the world, that have really inexorbitantly impacted women.
Yeah.
And women are typically the core of the household. They're the ones that are responsible for making sure that it runs smoothly. They're the ones that are planning everything. And that's kind of an archaic way of doing things, not to say that it's bad, but our
Right.
responsibilities as women in the world has increased substantially since that blueprint was put in place, right?
Yeah.
So now not only are women responsible for being the caregivers to their family, to their husbands, to themselves, making sure that everything is moving forward, but we also have high power careers now.
Yeah.
And there really hasn't been any integration to make this easier. There's no resources that we can tap into. And unfortunately, a lot of the onus really falls onto our shoulders to make sure that we're being cognizant of this, and to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves so that we can show up for everybody in our lives. And
Yeah.
for me, I mean, we I don't know about you guys, but I am definitely a pathological people pleaser. And I'm a recovering one. I feel like I've definitely been a lot more cognizant on that front recently. But you really cannot be all things to all people.
You can.
You've got to put your oxygen mask on first. And Michelle and I are really hopeful that this book can provide you with some resources to make sure that you're actually doing that.
Definitely. And even last week on with Marlon and the estate planning podcast, she was saying that it's just women that's typically, setting up their families for the future. And then also, I know I always used to hear that it's typically the female or the women in the family that care for their family throughout. And, coming from firsthand experience, it is definitely stressful and hard to be a caregiver. Also, say if you're starting a career, starting a business, then also caring for your family. So definitely, we see these come up more within women and females.
Yeah, definitely. Things have become unbearable with regard to all the balls that we're supposed to keep up in the air, and there are steps that you have to take. And what Michelle and I really, really, really dug into in the book, and when we were doing our research and chatting with each other about the resources we've used in the past, is that everything that we do in life takes energy. Okay, it's
Yeah.
not an infinite resource.
Right.
And burnout is something that can bleed through in every category of our lives. And I think that so many people just relegate it to your career. But
Yeah.
in reality, like Michelle was mentioning earlier with the gifts, like that's just not the fact. And really the four categories that we, discerned that we're really being impacted by this as women specifically is our physical energy, our mental energy, our emotional energy, and our spiritual energy, right?
Mhm.
Um, and one of the things that I've come to know here recently is that you don't have 100% in all these categories. It's kind of an amalgamation of all of it. So you have to protect all of these areas and make sure that you're filling your cup in all of those areas. And of course, it's going to happen sometimes when you're out of balance. But if you don't have strategies to combat that whenever you get really, really deep into the phases of burnout, because there are different phases of burnout, then you're not setting yourself up for success. So the way
Right.
that we've really structured the book is we've provided some statistics and some insight with regard to burnout and how it impacts people, specifically women. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we talk about how to deal with it if you're already there, right? Like if you are in it, you are
Mm-hmm.
feeling crappy, you are burnt
Yeah.
out, you don't want to do anything, you're immobilized. We give some coping strategies for those instances. We also, I think one of the most valuable aspects of the book is giving a little bit of prevention strategies
Mm-hmm.
or building resilience if you're building upon that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then obviously we understand, like, there used to be a stigma that was attached or associated with seeking help. But at the end of the day, sometimes you really do need to seek support.
Right. And that's okay. It's okay to seek professional help. And, I think in the world we live in, especially women, I think that they don't want to seek that support because they like that stigma around it. Like, oh, you have to go talk to someone but it's okay. And I really like the tips that we give in the book. And I also find myself like the other day when I was burnt out, I like actually like just flipped back and I was like, oh wow. And it like helped me. I was going
Yeah.
through it, it got me through it. And then now I have some prevention strategies to help me the next time.
Yeah. And honestly, Michelle and I mean, we wrote this, for you guys and for our friends and for our family and for us. Like, we just want it to be a free resource for people who are struggling with this so that they can remember when you try to tackle big things and accomplish big things, burnout is inevitable. So why wouldn't you just build in a strategy or a coping mechanism to make sure that you're taken care of in that category? Because you already know that you're going to experience it. And honestly, some of the biggest takeaways that we hope you guys are able to glean from the book is definitely the coping strategies, because one of
Mhm.
my least favorite things is when people are like, okay, cool, quit, tell me to take a bath and do something that's going to like make me feel better.
Right.
I already feel really crappy. What do I do now when I feel
Mhm.
really horrible already?
Yeah.
Um, and Michelle and I have both been there. So we walk
Mhm.
through that in the book and provide some insight there. And then also the prevention strategy. That's paramount, right? Because if you're in it, like that's okay, but like we don't want that to happen again. We want to be able to deal with it better next time. So giving
Mhm.
some of those, and then I don't know. For me, I shared the book with a couple of my friends, and for them, obviously the tactical tips were really amazing, and they provided that feedback. But they were just excited to know that, we talk about a lot of really successful women in this book who also cope and deal with burnout. And so
Yeah.
just kind of knowing that you're not alone and that it's ubiquitous and that it's something that we all have to deal with, that's something
Mhm.
that provided me with a lot of comfort. And I know that other people have told me that it provides them with comfort as well.
Yeah. No, it was definitely very eye-opening to see that, almost everybody struggles with burnout and, you know, it's okay if you are, and there are ways to get through it. 'Cause I know when probably like a few years ago when I was struggling a lot with it, I was like, oh, this is probably only me, blah, blah, blah. And it's good, like Jenny was saying, it's like a comfort to know that others feel this way.
Absolutely. And it's not going anywhere, you guys. We live in a
No.
really fast-paced world. We're overstimulated at all times. The expectations are insurmountable.
Mhm.
So it's, burnout is here to stay. So it's something we
Right.
have to manage.
Yeah.
And Michelle and I hope you guys stay tuned in the next week or so. We're going to be releasing it. It is free to
Mhm.
anybody that subscribes to our website and our newsletter, which we are also launching. So we will provide this resource for you guys so that you can always stay in the know. There's a lot of exciting things coming from our website too. We're going to provide you with a weekly newsletter that's going to walk through some really valuable information, really short, really concise, in your inbox every Thursday. And it's going to
Mhm.
provide you with a little bit of news, a value add that might help you in your career or your life. And we're also going to provide you a little bit more lead time on the wine if you guys want to tune in and grab that. So A lot of really exciting stuff coming from Empowered Women. We are so excited that you guys are a part of our community. Just wanted to hop on here and highlight that, that we have this resource available for you guys. And if you have any questions about it, we really hope that you reach out
Yeah,
and tune in for our episodes in the coming weeks, because there are some
yeah,
good ones.
there are. And also, we would love to hear your feedback. If you read the ebook, like let us know, if it helped you, any other stories that you have, behind your own struggles with it and how you coped. That'd be great to hear.
Yeah, we
Mhm.
always welcome feedback. And we hope
Yeah.
you guys are having an amazing week so far.
Yes. We'll see everyone next week. Remember, we'll be live.